Good afternoon. Welcome back for this second conference. Okay, this conference is for you, but it's not only for you, it's also for your children. What I mean is, I want to speak about the preparation of marriage as a fiancés. That maybe some of you are not anymore fiancés. And maybe it will look that it doesn't concern you directly, but still it concerns a lot of children. And it's very good that you have in mind exactly how it should be for you if you prepare your marriage, or actually how it should be for your children themselves the day they will be there. First of all, I want to speak about this path to marriage, because I think in Kenya we have a gap about it. We are saying that even last time we have a traditional marriage, how it was done in the past time, and we had very good customs. But today, it doesn't feel totally the need of the modern society. The Catholic Church was very clear about marriage, but now we have a lack of clarity sometimes about what should be done. The modern society has brought a lot of modern views on life, on marriage, on feminism, on career. And I think the Catholic youth need to have a clear pathway, how it should be, or for you or for your children, how it should be for marriage. Marriage is a vocation to holiness. Marriage is not something only profane. It's not only something that is like a kind of career you pursue. Marriage is deeply a vocation. It's a way of sanctification. Marriage is something that is written in the heart of men since the creation of the world. The man has been made for the woman and the woman for the man. There is a union in the marriage that is essential somehow to the human nature. It's not just an option, it's something deeply natural. It means that is something that fits totally our human nature. But it's also a vocation of holiness. It is a sacrament. And we have one sacrament specially dedicated to this sanctification of our life. And what is important for us, Catholic, is to go to heaven, is to become saint and holy, and to choose our path of sanctification. It means when a youth has finished his school, he has learned some skills, he has a job or he can get a job, it is normal for him to engage himself in a permanent way of sanctification. This is why we invite the youth, first of all, to answer the question of the vocation. Do you think that God is calling you? Do you think you have maybe a vocation? Have you been thinking about it? Now it's yes or no, or it's let me think, and sometimes it's very clear, it's yes, or it's very clear, it's no. Sometimes we need a bit of more time. But this is the first question we should answer. What is my way of sanctification? What is my path of sanctification? And after, when we are determined, when we have chosen, it's normal to embrace this way of sanctification. I know the modern world is telling us, develop your career, grow your business, and later you will think about your family. And even not only for men and for women, we have this invitation of the world today not to take family as something so important, but business and career are more important. We should first develop that and later maybe get married. I don't think it's right, but the mentality is there. I think if we know what is our path, let us try to engage in our way of sanctification. And if it's the marriage, it's normal to start a family. And the doctrine of the Catholic Church, according to the natural law, is clear. We should keep chastity before marriage. But maybe we should not wait for marriage 20 years of chastity, you know. Maybe we are not made for that. Marriage is not a convent, you know. We don't have the grace staying in the world, maybe to stay chaste so long if your vocation is marriage, actually. This is why it is normal for a man to look for a career, to start his studies, to get somewhere, to be able to pay rents and start being on his own. But if he wants to marry, it's good. It's good for a man, maybe even, okay, I don't want to compare what is done in other countries because each society is a bit different in organization. For us, in France, it's common for a man to try to get married around 25. Actually, among Catholics who believe in marriage, believe in family. And many girls are married around 21, 22. They are getting married. And somehow it's right. It is right, you know, you want to get married, this is your way of sanctification, you are young. Of course, you have to choose very well this person. You have to be able to provide for your family. And you get started. I know it's not so easy in Kenya. For many youth, they don't see this path so clear because society is afraid of marriage. You have so many failures in marriage. It's difficult to get married. You have so many steps to go, and you are not encouraged by the society to go through these steps. Even parents, even Catholic parents, sometimes they have no problem to keep the children in cohabitation, even to encourage them to stay like that. But that is not right. Let us remember what the mother of Saint Louis the King was telling her son. She was telling her, "My son, I would prefer to see you dead at my feet than to know that you have committed only one mortal sin." This is an attitude for a Catholic mother. Not to encourage the children to live in cohabitation and maybe one day to get marriage. And the youth are youth. They have to keep chastity in a difficult world. It's normal for them to start having frequentation, to be attracted by the opposite sex, to have plans for growing a family, to be in love with someone, and to desire to have a family. It's a natural desire. And I think we should encourage them to make good decisions, prudent and wise decisions, not to hurry, of course. But if they are good, if they have found someone good, let them proceed and build their family. And let us help them to make a good decision, to assist them to go through these steps that are important. Because our sanctification is done through our state of life. And there is no really, family, we have a sacrament to sanctify you. And now you can, our sanctification is always to give our life. We sanctify ourselves when we give our life for something greater than us. Someone who is single is not living for something else. He can live for himself. He can just do his own life and even have a selfish existence. Our sanctification requires us to give our life for something. It can be our family, it can be for the church, as a vocation, but we have to give our life. This is why, first of all, I wanted to speak about this path for marriage. And to help young people not to wait so long to get married, but of course, to do a very good choice, a very good decision. To look for a strong Catholic, to look for someone who has exactly the same values, that they can build a beautiful family. And all of you, you know what is the world around. You have seen so many families and marriages failing everywhere. Even among Catholics, it's not enough to be Catholic. We have to be strong Catholic. Because only strong Catholic can commit themselves with a bit of seriousness. And all of us, even strong Catholic, can be tempted and can do mistakes. But if someone doesn't have principles, if someone doesn't have this kind of deep conviction, there is nothing like fidelity today, There is nothing like indefectibility of a promise. No. Today, this is totally different. People, they don't commit themselves. This is why we have to encourage for good frequentation, and I think we should speak to the children very early about it, to give them guidelines about how it will be, how it should be, who will be accepted at home or not. If one day you want to bring someone, this is how it should be. Just it's helping the children. It's helping them to know who is welcome at home or not. Before even they can start having ideas. And now they have the criteria, they know who is welcome or not. It's better than to solve the problem after, Better to give guidelines before. And to explain how it will happen. How even a youth at 15, 16 years old, we can tell him how it will happen to get married, what will be the process, when it will. And now, since this age, they already know how it is in the family, how it will be, how it will happen. And they are prepared for that, and they accept. It's like that. It's a fact. I wanted to say something about the ceremony of engagement. It's not really known, maybe you don't know this ceremony, but there is a special blessing given by the Catholic Church for engagement, for fiancés, people who start to frequent officially. It means they are serious, they know each other, they have spoken a lot, they have already decided to get married, but they want to prepare that well with the support of the church. And there is a kind of need for a social status. Because true fiancés, they don't like to be called a girlfriend or boyfriend, you know, because they think they are better than that. I am not someone, I cannot be called just a girlfriend of someone. I am more than that. I am the fiancé, you know, I am already someone with a honor and a respectability. I'm not someone who can, no, I don't have a boyfriend. I have maybe a fiancé, but not a boyfriend. I think it's important to cultivate this kind of feelings and to make them see what is the difference actually. And this ceremony of engagement is very beautiful and gives a kind of official status with the blessing of the church and on this relationship. And this blessing is important because these youth, they have to prepare themselves for a great decision. They have to grow in holiness. They have to keep chastity. And they need many blessings from the church. And better to get this blessing and to start this journey with the blessing of the church. And they also need guidance. And that is another opportunity to give guidance from the priest. We have made recently in Holy Cross a very beautiful ceremony of engagement, and everybody was really touched by this ceremony, how serious it is, how deep it is, how beautiful it is, this sanctification of love by the Catholic Church with very clear guidelines given. That's something very beautiful. Now, this time of engagement is a time of growth for this youth, a time for them to understand themselves, to understand what is the family also, what is the relationship, understand what is love, because it's not so easy today to understand what is love. You know, love is something quite confusing. It's a quite confusing concept because you have several forms of love. If you are in business and you love your customers, it's a kind of love, but you know which kind of love it is, you know? It's not, it's quite interested, but it's fine. It's right to love your customers. It's not wrong, but it's, if he is not anymore your customer, you will delete the contact, and that's finished, you know? It's not someone you really care for a personal reason. Maybe you will care because of business, but it's quite utilitarian or mercantile friendship. It is the first degree of love. There is a second kind of love that is higher than, that is, you love that's not what is useful to you, that is the first step, but you love what pleases you. You love a person because this person is pleasant to you. I'm sorry for the mothers, but I don't think a young baby is loving the mother with a love of charity. I think he is loving the warmth, he is loving the milk, he is loving the care, but he is not trying to help his mother. He is not trying to make the mother happy. No. He is a very selfish baby, actually. But this is normal. He loves what is good for him, what is pleasant for him. He's like a kind of small animal looking for milk, you know. But he's right, he's a baby. This is stage of development. The problem is when people they don't get out of this stage and they are only looking for this kind of love, that they want this convenience, this friendship, this love is based on pleasure. And the kind of pleasure that this person is giving me. And actually, in this case, we are not loving someone, we are just loving ourselves. It's just a very selfish love, actually. I love myself, I want to be happy, and this person is making me happy. I love this person for my own sake. It's exactly like to love chocolate, you know? Yeah, when you love chocolate, you don't want to make the chocolate happy. It is not at all your goal in life. You are just loving your own self. And this chocolate is for you. The cat is loving the mouse, but not for the sake of the mouse, for its own sake. And it's very important to discover this different level of love and to be very aware of them. They are not wrong. It's good to love ourselves. We must love ourselves, but a person is not a food, you know. We are not going to eat a person. But some people, they do. They do, even physically, maybe. But they are using people. They are using people, manipulating people, and after they can just drop them. When they are finished the chocolate, they throw out the package. The third degree, that is a real love, is the love of charity now, where you love someone for his own sake. You love someone to make this person happy, and this is now the level of charity. It's a true friendship when you want someone to be happy. You want to make someone happy. And you are able to sacrifice for the sake of this person. It's not so easy to distinguish these different levels because they have to be related. Of course, if you love someone, this person is also for you a source of happiness, and there is nothing wrong there. It's not wrong, but all these levels are interconnected, of course. If you get married, it's very useful to have a husband, and it's very useful to have a wife. Your spouse is also a source of happiness, joy, and pleasure, and she's not wrong. But it cannot be only that. It has to be also the love of a person, that you cannot use this person for you. You have to respect this person and to care for this person for the own sake of this person. And in the marriage, it's very important that to enter with the right understanding, that you enter in marriage to make someone happy. Even you are ready to give your life for this person to be happy, even if you have to suffer for that. And you want to make your children happy, and you are ready to sacrifice for that. Even if you have to suffer a bit, even if it's not so easy, you think first, what is good for my children? What is good for my husband? What is good for my wife? And not to think, what is my pleasure? What do I want to do? Because that is absolutely killing love. You know that what is keeping a good family, of course, is love. And what is destroying a family is always selfishness. That is clear. Everything that can strengthen love will strengthen the family. And everything that is developing the selfishness is killing the family. And we know what is love. Love is sacrifice. It's clear. At this third level of charity, the model of love is our Lord dying for us on the cross. And this is a sacrifice. Love is a sacrifice because to love is to give. And to give is not to keep for yourself. It's to renounce. Love is always a sacrifice. It doesn't mean that love is not something very pleasant, because sacrifice is pleasant actually, because love is source of happiness. And you are happy to sacrifice, and also if you have well chosen your spouse, he is loving you the same way. And now he is caring for you as you are caring for him. And you are happy to be loved by your spouse. And you accept it as a gift, and you thank God for this love you receive. And this is the plan of God. Family should be full of happiness and joy, but you understand, we first look to give our life, we are ready for sacrifice, and we find what we were maybe not looking for first. We find happiness and joy and peace and a very beautiful family that is a fruit of hard work. It's like a business. You know, your family is like a business. It's even the most important business you have in your life is your family. And you know how to run a company, how to start a company. It's a lot of work. Hard work pays. What means hard work? It means a lot of sacrifice. It means not to sleep at night, but to work. And it's the same for family. Hard work pays. Sacrifice pays. If you give your life to make your spouse happy, it will pay. It will pay you very well, because you will make a very happy family, and you will be the first to benefit from this happy family. Now, let us consider things like that. It's not so strange. We do the same for business. And one day we collect the fruit of all our sacrifices. And always consider the sake of the children, not your own sake. You have time to think about who you want to marry with. It is your decision, and it has to be a mature decision. But when you have decided to marry someone, now the goal and your main responsibility are the children. Because if you give life, you are responsible for the children. You are two adults, you have made your own decision, and you are responsible for the decision you have made. Nobody has forced you to marry this person. It is your own decision, but these children, they have not asked you to get married. They have not asked you to come in this world. You are responsible for them, and you have the duty to sacrifice for them, to give them a good life, to give them good parents, to give them good example, to give them a happy family, to give them a loving father and a loving mother. This is now your duty. And just sacrifice for it. Don't think too much. Sacrifice for them. This is now the goal of your life. And sometimes it will be difficult, because it cannot be easy always. It has to be difficult sometimes. But you know why, and you know it was planned. You were ready for it. You are not surprised. There is no way you were imagining that the life will be easy. Even if you start a business, you know it will not be easy. You will have to work hard, and you will have sometimes to spend very bad moments, with your business. But you work hard and you make it. It's the same for your marriage. Your business are your children. They're the one you have to give them the best. And the best is not money. The best is not Braeburn. The best is not to belong to this kind of people. No. The best is at natural level. It is a good affective balance. Your children, they must be loved by their father and their mother, and they have the right to have two parents who are loving each other. This is the first duty, because the best gift you can give a child in our world today is a good affective balance, to be loved and to feel that this child is loved by his parents and that he is brought in an atmosphere of peace and love and charity. When a child feels that his parents are fighting, the heart of this child starts to break. And we don't know where this breakdown will end. And we cannot do that to a child. And the first goal, let us remember, this is a child. Of course, the second goal of marriage is the mutual support. You are here to help each other. And all of us, we can have our bad moments. We can have our problems. We can get depressed. Someone can lose his job. Someone can break down. Someone can have an accident. You are here for each other. And this love of each other, this attention to each other, is a part of the marriage, part of this friendship, part of this love, and that is extremely important. And never forget that the family is the most important business you can build, a business that is much more important than a company, because you are dealing with immortal souls that will continue after generations. And you can be the patriarch of a whole family, having established a very strong Catholic family, and you can establish something that will continue for many years and many generations what you have started. That is your family. And even in heaven, you will meet these people of your family, and you will join together again, and you will build again in heaven this family that you have built on earth. This is why your family is much more important than your business. Or it's your most important business. But never forget what is the basement of this building. What is the basement of your family? It is your love, your connection, your understanding between you and your spouse. You are the basement of this family. And if this basement starts to split, the whole building is in danger. This is why your most important concern is to grow your love, to strengthen your love, to take care of your spouse, and to make sure that there is nothing between you and your spouse. And nothing can divide you from your spouse, even your parents, even the mother-in-law. Nobody should interfere in your family. What is important is your family. You are leaving your father and your mother to cling to your wife, and this is now your family. Nobody can come between both of you. Your spouse has the priority. And of course, you can see why so many people are failing in marriage. So many people are getting married for wrong reasons, very wrong reasons, selfish reasons. Someone is getting married because to this one because she is very pretty, very young, very beautiful. But that will not stay forever, you know. It's a very wrong reason to choose someone. It's not wrong, it's not bad. It's nice, but you should have many other good reasons than this one. Or someone because he has a good job, he has a good situation, he is very wealthy. It's prudent to choose someone who can feed your family. That is prudent. But if you choose someone for the money, it's very selfish. And of course, many people are looking for this kind of criteria. Yeah, he has a good situation, he's a good party for me, and the family is very happy, you know. You're getting married to a good person. No, I'm getting married to a wealthy person. It's different, you know. Maybe he's very bad. Let us have the right understanding, the right reason, and let us check why we want to get married. Of course, many times when we try to solve problems of family, it's already too late, you know. The choice was badly done. The start was wrong. And now you just feel sorry for people, but you don't have many solutions, you know. You can help them, you can assist, but it was wrong from the beginning, you know. This is why we try to make it right. We try to speak. Please think before, decide after, and because after it's too late. You are together up to death now. And I can tell you what I say is extremely practical. Because after you have conflict, you know? What is a conflict? A conflict is when you fight for yourself. This is what is a conflict. You fight for your own opinion, but you don't put yourself in the shoes of someone else. In the marriage, the solution of the conflict is not your own opinion. It is what is good for the family. But most of the conflicts we see are two people fighting for their own point of view. And the only way to solve this conflict is to try to understand what is the point of view of the other one and see what is right, what is just, that this other one has seen that I have not seen. Actually, love should be to fight not for your own interest, but to fight for the interest of the other one. And if you want to have conflict at home, it should be, please rest today, let me do the dishes. No, you have done that yesterday, go and rest yourself. It cannot be only you to work in this house. I want also to help you. This is a good conflict based on charity now. You are not fighting for yourself, you are fighting for your family, you are fighting for the other one. This is charity now. But when you fight for yourself, this selfishness, this is what is now affecting and destroying your love, is selfishness. And it's important to consider the real good of someone. You know, for all of us, maybe we know what is good objectively speaking, and we want to impose to other people what we think to be good. But as a human being, it's not only what is good and right that is good, it's also for the sake of this person to want him by himself. You know, the growth of someone is not only to do what is right, it is to want what is right, and to want it freely. Because you could imagine a country where you have a very big dictator, where everybody does what is right, absolutely, but under pressure, under force, under violence, everybody is forced to do what is right. There is no freedom. And there is no even holiness. Even if nobody can sin because he is totally controlled by the government, he cannot sin, even physically, it's not possible. There is a policeman behind everybody, and you cannot sin. You know? You are obliged to be good. There is no holiness there. Because holiness is not coming only from the fact to do what is right, but from your own free will, who is choosing what is right, who wants to do what is right. This is why we need to give freedom. This is why we need to give freedom to people. We need to teach them freedom. We need to teach them how to use their freedom in order to become good. Because someone becomes good when he makes a good decision. Someone becomes bad when he makes a bad decision. And for you to love someone is not to decide everything for this person, even if your decisions are very good. It's to help this person to understand what is good for him and to decide himself to do it. This is what we call now education of freedom. And this is the way of sanctification, because sanctification comes from our own decision to love God and to do what is right. Now, let us consider that even in the marriage. Let us not be a dictator in our family, but let us let people grow. Let us help people, even children, teenagers. They have to grow, they have to learn how to use their freedom. You have to give them a bit of room that they can even do some mistakes, and you help them to understand. You can see you have made a mistake. I gave you freedom. You have made a wrong decision. This is the consequence. Next time, maybe you will do better. But you don't, because you don't block them. You allow them to grow. And it's the same with your spouse. Don't be a dictator. Don't force people to be the way you want them to be. They are not yourself. They are different. They have a different personality. They have different gifts. They have a different sex. It means they have a total different psychology than your own psychology. And they have a different way of sanctification than your own way of sanctification. And you have to give this freedom of opinion, this freedom of that you can allow them to grow, making also good decisions. Of course, you're not obliged to let someone kill himself. You can stop somewhere in the process. You can use of authority. Of course, authority is very good. But you have to help someone to grow and to learn how to use his freedom, and not to make someone just obey yourself as a dictator, you know. Even God doesn't act like that with us. God is so respectful of our own freedom. We are never forced by God. God is teaching us. He is sending his priest, his bishop to teach catechism, and after everybody does what he wants, you know. God has given you the knowledge, he's giving you the grace, but we are free. And there is no other way of sanctification than to decide ourselves what we are going to do with this freedom and to try to use it well. That is important because true love is not a dictature. Even if you know exactly what is good for someone, let him discover also and understand and choose it. And it's a very interesting way of educating children to help them to develop this freedom. Because one day, actually, they will have to decide by themselves. You will not decide for them. And now you will collect the fruits of your education. If it was only a superficial education, it will not bear fruit. If you were only beating children, but they have never understood why they were beaten, like in school sometimes, you know, in the secondary school or in primary school, children are beaten for the sake to be beaten. They don't know why. We are not building the freedom of these children. There is more in giving than in receiving. Acts 20:35. There is more joy in giving than in receiving. This is something so important for charity and for Catholic families. There is more joy to sacrifice yourself than to take for yourself. There is more joy to give than to receive. I get married for my children. I get married for my wife. I marry to do the will of God. My life is now at the service of something greater than myself. This is extremely important to believe in that, because it is the source of your happiness. And you know, nothing will make you more happy than to be a good Catholic and to sacrifice your life. You know, people are doing what is wrong, usually. They want first to be happy, and they get disappointed. That is what most of people do. They look for happiness, and they get disappointed, because they don't understand the way of happiness. For us Catholics, we are told the way of happiness is the way of the cross. Look for the way and get happiness. And it's working. And a Catholic family is much more happier than any other Catholic, any other family, you know, because of this right understanding. You have two kinds of love. You have the love of God, and you have our love here. No, usually we say we have two kinds of love. When you can look at each other in the eyes, it means you contemplate each other. You can see it's two people looking at each other, and they can love themselves, each other. You have this other kind of love that you are looking together in the same direction, and now you are united by a common goal. Actually, the first kind of love cannot be a perfect love in this world because we are imperfect. And when you look at someone else and you contemplate him, very quickly you will see imperfection. Only God can fill us with this kind of love, because only God we can contemplate and get perfectly happy. Only God can fill ourselves with this perfect joy. For us, our human love here is more not to look at each other on the eyes, but to look together in the same direction. This kind of companionship, of friendship, where you are united with a common goal. This is this love we have in marriage. Now, how can young people get ready for marriage? How can you teach your children to get ready for marriage? We have always said the best school is a school of generosity. Let your children volunteer for free. Let your children do things for free. Let them be involved with a youth group, take responsibilities, give their time, go volunteer in a home for children, volunteer in a home for all people. Make them do something for free. Even if you have a boy who has finished Form 4, he doesn't know to do at home, let him go and help a fundi for free. He will learn something. He will learn how to work for free. Let them practice generosity, because generosity is a school of marriage, because it is a school of charity. But if you let your children to be selfish, if you let them develop this selfishness and live for their own sake, not help at home, not give their life at home, just be the the small king at home and be served by the parents, you are spoiling your children. And actually, after the sexual revolution in the 70s, 60s, 70s, we developed a kind of education that was spoiling children so much, It was to have the king child, where we love children and we are the servant of the children, and the child has nothing to do. He has just to enjoy and receive. And we have been forming generation of very selfish people. Okay, it was coming from with the sexual revolution, with contraception, abortion, all these things, with family, with 2 parents, 1 or 2 children maximum. And now there is no way you have to give at home. If you have a family with 5, 6 children, 7 children, I can tell you they will learn something at home. They will learn generosity. They will learn how to relate with people. They will learn how to sacrifice a bit. They will learn how to handle many conflicts. They will learn so much through a large family. But if you have only 1 child, they are not learning this generosity. And it's important to teach them this generosity. Okay, let us understand that the best gift you can give to a child is to learn how to give his life and not to be selfish. And many parents are the one spoiling their children out of love, of course. Because they love their children wrongly, they spoil them. This is why we speak about tough love. Tough love is real love, not a too soft one. Now, a second part of this conference is the practice of chastity during the time of engagement. It's important because this is clearly the plan of God, not to have children before to have built this home where they can be safe and protected, and you build this home through the promise made to stay together forever. Now you can receive children in your family. Before that, you are not ready to receive them because your children will not be safe, because you have not decided to build this house. You have not built even the house, because the house is built by the promise. This is why there is no sex before marriage, because a sexual relation is made to give life and can give life. Even if you are under contraception, that you should not be under contraception, but contraception is not safe. Because many people under contraception, they are getting abortion. Meaning contraception doesn't work so well. It means according to the law of God and the plan of God, there is no sex before marriage, because sex is made for procreation, and procreation is not good at this time, because the house is not built. This is why people who are in love, people who are fiancés, engaged, must abstain from sexual acts and also from gestures which usually provoke sexual emotion. clearly, to be clear and specific, for fiancés or engaged couple, fornication, striping in front of the other, even video or photo, by photo or video, prolonged and sensual kisses or caresses, particularly on the parts that should be always hidden in public, provocative clothing are mortal sin. Are mortal sin because they are there or directly to do what should not be done, like fornication, or they are direct preparation for that. And of course, they are not allowed because we cannot get ready to do something wrong. It's not the time. What is allowed between people in frequentation, of course, is the mark of particular affection, because there is a kind of exclusivity that is normal. If there is love, there is exclusivity. And now to show a mark of exclusivity is okay. Like to take the hand of someone, or to sit together publicly, to show that you are together. This is things that are good and allowed, this mark of particular affection, but nothing that can arouse a sexual desire or sexual emotions, because it's not time for that. Of course, these things can happen, but because we have a body and this body is reacting, this is why the fiancés have to do what is right. But if they experience some sexual emotions they were not looking for, it's okay. There is no sin to experience something that you have not decided to do. We don't have a control on our body, a total control. We can feel some emotions that we have not looked for. This is what we say, that feeling is not consenting. If a fiancé experiences a sexual emotion, when he has done anything wrong, he was just near of the person he loves and now he's experiencing something, of course, there is no fault. But it's wrong to look for that. Let us be aware that we are living in a very materialistic and hedonistic world, where all the society around us doesn't share at all the vision of God on sexuality. For them, it's normal to look for pleasure, sex, and money without too many limits. The modern world encourages sensuality and lust. And of course, we are influenced by the world we are living in. All of us, we are always in interaction with the world and we are influenced. Let us be aware that these influences are there. We have good influence from good friends. We have bad influence from bad friends. Our children will be influenced also by the world. Let us be always aware of these influences and choose the influences we want and avoid the influences we don't want. But still, the influence of the world is there, and we can't escape it, because we are not hermits. And I even think that even the hermits are influenced by the world, because we are members of the society. There is no way we escape. But let us be aware of that and do what is right and look for good influence and protect ourselves as much as we can. And of course, protect our children. We have some very good reasons to practice total chastity before marriage. First of all, it's a divine command. St. Paul is clear about it. This is the will of God. It is your sanctification that you abstain from fornication. St. Paul again, the works of the flesh are manifested, and these are fornication, impurity, lust, etc. Those who do such things shall not enter the kingdom of God. Okay, we already spoke about the wisdom of this command. Free union creates precarious situation for the spouses and for the children. The consequences are too serious to joke with that. It is a divine command. And you know, it's very wrong to start your family against God. You know, we need the blessing of God. Life is difficult. We have to fight so many things. Marriage is difficult. If now we are even fighting God, where are we going? Let us be in the side of God. Let us look for the blessing of God. Let us look for the blessing of engagement. Let's look for the blessing of the sacrament of marriage. And now with all these blessings, let us now enter in common life. But to start common life without the blessing of God, and even worse than that, against the will of God, is just to look for curses, you know. It's to look for problem and bad consequences. Now, another reason that is extremely important for chastity is chastity is a security for the family, for the couple. If someone is able to wait for you and to respect you, you can trust this person. Even when you will not be here, this person will be able to wait for you. If someone is not able to respect you, to wait for you, you are not safe. You are not safe. And I really encourage mainly young girls to be extremely firm on that. I remember that I made a marriage last summer, and I know how the girl met the boy. It was in university. And yeah, she really loved this man. And when she understood that things were becoming a bit serious, she had to tell him two things. And she told him, you know, you are not a Catholic. It's clear that I will marry only a Catholic. That is number one. Number two, you will never touch me before the marriage. And she came back home crying. And she complained to her mother, And she said, I have lost the love of my life. I have destroyed my life myself because I was too tough with him. But 2.5 years after they are married, he has been baptized, a wonderful conversion, beautiful conversion, a very good man. He has discovered the faith, and now they are married in church. This clarity and a girl who respects herself, a girl who is able to stand for what she is, and says, these are my criteria. If you are interested with me, this is the price. If you don't think if you don't value me at this price, it's okay. It's okay. But if you value me, pay the price. And you know, when you are in business, if you are selling things, it's better to let the client pay first before to give the goods, you know? Because maybe you will never see the client if now you start giving out. You know, imagine a supermarket and you tell people, okay, take what you want, you will pay me later. Yeah, they will take what they want and you will never see them again, of course. And you see the problem of, mainly for a girl, if she accepts to give herself before the boy has paid for her, you know? And actually, here it's even physically, you know, you have to pay to Eric, you know. But to pay is to commit himself. Oh, you're interested with me? Fine. Go speak with my parents and speak with the priest. But, yeah, do your part. But you will never touch me before you have paid for me. And you have paid for me, this is your commitment. Let our girls value themselves. Because the day they have given out the goods, the day they are in the bed of this man, why should he go and pay now? He's enjoying. They are living together. They are in cohabitation. It's okay. He has a wife. Why do you want this man now to go and pay a lot of money? He's not in a hurry. For him, he is enjoying what he wanted. He's enjoying. He is married. He has a wife. He has no problem. He's happy with that. Actually, he doesn't have too much money, you know. And when he say, next year, I will marry you. Next year. But you know, if the girl was firm, he will find a way if he wants. If you really love me, now go and find your way. If you don't find your way, it's that you don't love me, you know. If the girls could stand like that, they will set a kind of value in the society. They will set a kind of, you know, they will value themselves. And the boys, they will comply, you know. Women have the power to set the moral level of a society. If a girl is easy, she makes a very bad society because she is easy to take, you know. She doesn't have to be respected. If a girl is expensive, you know, and the girl should be very expensive, not in money, but in commitment, you know. I am not an easy girl. If you want me, you have to do what is right. Do what is right and come for me after. I think it's extremely important to teach that to the girls, even to the boys, of course. But the girl has the power to say no. And this power is extremely important. Chastity before marriage is extremely important. And you have actually many studies that are showing that even virginity before marriage, you have some figures about it. I found this figure somewhere. If a girl is virgin before the marriage, you have 68% of chance that the marriage will last. If a boy is virgin, now you go to 78% of chance, more than other couples. This is the result of some studies. Because this person value fidelity, these persons are able to control themselves, and they are more trustable, and actually, yeah. And now we have power to teach our children the right way. But for that, we need to be convinced ourselves of what is right, to be convinced of what is good, and to implement it in our families. And you have the power to build your family and to give very strong conviction to your children. It will be important also to overcome sensitive love. Sensitive love, this attraction for pleasure, has to be controlled. This is what we call self-control, virtue of temperance, virtue of chastity, virtue of purity. And you know, even in the marriage, you have to control yourself. There is nothing like chastity that is just before marriage, and after you can do what you want. No. Chastity is for all of us. All of us, we have to keep chastity. It means we have to control ourselves. There is this kind of joke that a priest was telling to a man about the celibacy of priesthood. And this priest was saying, you know, there is no big difference for a man to be married or to do the vow of chastity and celibacy. Because a married man is renouncing billions of women and is only having one, renouncing billions of other women. And the priest is just renouncing the same number of women plus one. Because actually, even in your marriage, when you promise fidelity, you still renounce to so many other women that can tempt you in your place of work, in your anywhere, you know. Chastity implicates renouncement. And yes, a priest renounces all women of the world, but when you are married, you renounce all the women of the world, less one. And the difference is only one out of billions. It's a joke, but it's showing that there is still renouncement needed in the marriage. You need to practice chastity. You need to control yourself. And you know, you can have a big crisis at home. You can feel very bad with your spouse. Maybe someone with age is getting bitter, is getting impossible to live with, you know. People can get funny, you know, with age. And at this moment, you get funny, you know, with age. And at this moment, you are maybe in a position to be tempted. And you have to keep chastity. This is very important. This is why if someone is able to keep chastity before, he will probably be able to keep chastity after. But if someone is not even able to control himself before, you know, the past is always garant of the future. Huh? This is why we have to purify our sensitivity. Yes, God has given this attraction. It's a blessing. This love in the marriage is a real blessing of God. It's helping people to love each other. And actually, there is a study that is even explaining why sexual relations are making people to bond more because of a certain hormone that has this effect to attach people to each other. This is why it is something that is important. It's a blessing of God, but it is there to build a family and not to play with it. Because fornication is not something innocent. It is something that is deeply affecting the person. Okay, it's very important to have this clarity about before marriage. And actually, it's totally up to date. You know, I was reading an article saying that in US, it's an article from a French journal, newspaper. They are very afraid because what is trending on TikTok in US is virginity and chastity. You have some Christian influencers who are using all the codes of TikTok to promote abstinence before marriage, chastity, and virginity. It's really trending because the youth have gone too far, you know. They have gone too far in sexuality, and now there is really a reaction to this excess. And of course, our liberal media in Europe are very afraid to say the youth speaking about chastity and virginity. But it's really a phenomenon on social media. And since few years, we see this, the youth looking for these values. It's normal because this is our human nature. sexuality is not a normal organic function. It's something very much more than that, something involving a real intimacy, a real love, a real protection, and not just something we can deal with it lightly. Let us reinforce these convictions, educate our children with this understanding, and help them really to build good relationship. Of course, for that, chastity is not possible without prayer, frequent communion and confession, daily recitation of the Rosary, to pray for the protection of the future family, to offer the difficulties of chastity for the protection of the family, to be very clear that you should never meet alone in a room, in a bedroom, or in a house, because it's not a safe place to meet if you don't want to have problem. You know, poor planning is the cause of many mistakes, you know. But if you plan properly, you don't plan to be in trouble, you don't plan to be at the wrong place where you are in danger. You plan to meet in public, you plan to meet in company. This is why traditionally, when you have this kind of encounter, it's always in the family of each other, in the presence of the rest of the family. And usually, if they want to go somewhere, they are always given a child to accompany them, you know? That is traditional practice. Because now, they have someone they have a guardian angel now. And this is tradition. Traditional practice is how it is done in Catholic families. You don't let your child alone in the wrong place. You don't send two fiancés together for holidays. You know, no. You don't allow your children to do that. I don't want to be too long. I have some other text, but basically it's to tell people to understand that if they start to be engaged with someone, they have to be very clear in the kind of relationship they have with this person and with the other person. You cannot be engaged with two different persons. It means your relationship has to be clear. If someone is engaged with another person, his behavior with other friends has to be clear and neat. No, you cannot just play with different people at the same time. You have a text of Pius XII. Purity before marriage prepares for fidelity in marriage. How can we hope and expect the marital chastity and fidelity of a young man who never knows how to conquer himself, who does not know how to control his passions, who does not know how to reject perfidious invitations and bad examples, and who allows all disorder of morals before marriage? Pius XII, young people have the moral obligation, and with the help of grace, they have the possibility to keep themselves pure. We therefore reject as erroneous the affirmation of those who consider that faults are inevitable from puberty onwards. This is why also we should not stay fiancés for years, you know. There is a time. Usually we say maximum 2 years, you know, because after, of course, you know, you are getting in danger. This is why if your children are ready for marriage, don't stop them to marry. Help them to get well married, but don't make this situation an occasion of sin for them. I don't know if you have some questions you would like to ask. Yes.
Thanks so much for the very nice presentation. I'm just curious. You find that certain people in society say that they want to they want to get married, perhaps they single for life. What does the church say about it? Is that how that they do the just how do you treat such a they're not in the religious
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. If I understand well, your question is some people who are not willing to get married, they don't want to live in cohabitation, they want just to be single, not to get married. Yeah. It is a question. Is there a vocation for celibacy like that? I think yes and no. I think we have two main vocations. And you have a sacrament for priesthood, you have a consecration for religious life, and you have a sacrament for marriage. This, I think the normal vocation we choose. After, celibacy is a fact. It has always been. We have always in the family some uncle or aunties who never got married for different reasons. Most of the time, we discover this vocation a bit later. But I don't think it's really a natural and a normal plan. Maybe it can be the consequence of some other things. People have been disappointed by marriage. They don't believe in marriage. They prefer to stay single because they want to avoid mistakes. They don't believe anymore in love and family. They have bad experiences. Or they have developed a mentality through education that family is not good. I want to avoid that, source of problem. No, you have so many reasons why people can be afraid of marriage, and we can understand. Or are not attracted by marriage because they don't have a positive experience. And we are in a society where also more and more people are also disoriented, even in terms of attractions, you know, with the promotion of gayism, homosexuality, of gender theory, people are more and more confused. And I don't say that is the case but I think many reasons. And also because our society is going more and more farther of the natural law. When you are close of a natural society, you do easily what is natural. Today, we are getting far of natural society, and things that are evident or should be evident are not today. And also in a society that is natural, everybody is going in the same direction, and it's normal. Like how it was in the village 50, 60 years ago, life was very simple. You were just living as everybody else, and in many places it was quite good and quite okay. Marriage was respected, education was clear, you knew what was your path, it was clear. Today, because of individualism, because of subjectivism, there is no clear path. Everybody is left alone and has to find his own way, and people are getting more disoriented. I think we have many reasons why it's not so easy or to get married, or some people not to be attracted with marriage. But I still think that the main vocation in terms of percentage should be marriage. When you read this, the creation in the Bible, it is clear that you have this union between men and women is quite clear in the human nature, and you can have exceptions, and celibacy is an exception. And the celibacy of priests is absolutely exceptional in all the religions of the world. Only Catholics have celibacy because we have a special sacrament, special grace for it. And even celibacy somehow could have a kind of bad reputation in the world. Who is this man who is alone? Can you trust a man who is alone? He's not going to do something wrong, Someone who has a wife, okay, he has a wife. Someone who is alone, can someone be alone? You have, I don't say you have suspicions, but you could have a bit of, is it really normal to be alone, Even God has said it's not good to be alone. I don't think we should promote celibacy as a vocation. I think it's a bit dangerous, because when you are young, okay, you say, okay, I don't want to get married, okay, I want to develop something. But one day, you are really alone. You are aging alone. We don't have a spouse to help you. You don't have children to take care of you. You are living alone, you are aging alone, and you are dying alone. It's not our case for us. And even the Catholic Church is not pushing to tell someone, keep chastity like that, and stay alone, stay single. I know some are playing this game around here. They are encouraging people to be single in the world for the glory of God. Yeah. Are you thinking about the consequences of what you tell them? Do you think that these people one day they will die alone, without family, without children? For us, we are not alone. We have a spiritual family. We have a community. We have a family that will take care of us. The sisters are not alone. The priests are not alone. The religious are not alone. We have a family. And I will not push someone to choose to be alone. Maybe you can find yourself alone, but I will not be the one pushing for someone to be alone. It's a responsibility. After, if it's the will of God, God. That is fine. But even you can get married and lose your husband or your wife. Okay, but that was not the plan. You know?
What is the time between the ceremony of engagement and the ceremony of marriage?
Yeah, the time between ceremony of engagement and marriage, it all depends. If you are very young adults who want to get married, okay, they are serious, but they are so young. Let us buy a bit of time, okay? Let us wait for 2-3 years of preparation, huh? And we will see, okay? Because they are a bit too young. He is not established. Let them mature a bit. Now you have very mature people who are very sure of what they are doing. You can marry them in 3, 6, or 6 months, you know? It all depends.
Yeah, I'm also curious in the understanding also of the, especially like when we, okay, I think various societies have, but in our context especially, there is also the cultural beliefs about marriage. There is the issue of paying dowry, for example, and various other beliefs within African culture. So how do you marry those? Because you are Catholic now, maybe your parents are also Catholic, but it's also that cultural beliefs that you expect
Yeah.
also before marriage.
Yeah, the question is about what to do with the traditional customs and the kind of limitation they can bring to get married because of dowry, because of getting, even your parents should get married before you, and they are still not married and you cannot marry before them, you know? All these kind of things. These customs were established, I think, by the wisdom of God. God is the one who has inspired, I think, these customs to protect families. And actually, it has worked very well in the past time. But these customs are good if they are wise and if they are helping families to be strong and to, if they are helping, you know. Now, if these customs become an impediment, they don't have a value. If they are an impediment against the will of God or against what is really good. Of course, it's prudent to keep the customs. It's prudent to go through. But if now it becomes impossible. I know the history of a couple, they wanted to get married. The parents were asking for too much money. And the priest in Consolata advised this young, I will marry you, don't worry. And actually, they wrote to their parents 2 weeks before the marriage, this is the day of our marriage. And the priest here in Consolata, he said, no, your parents are not reasonable. Let us proceed. And it was wise. You know, you try to follow the customs, but if now it's not reasonable, if it's just preventing people to do what is right, why should you absolutely follow these customs? Even if I have a young couple, they are ready to get married, but because their parents have not paid dowry and they should not marry before the parents. Okay, just come, I will marry you. You do what is, no, you have to be wise, you have to respect the customs, you have to respect the families. It's extremely important to get the consent of the families for a marriage. And usually in the Catholic Church, it's a requirement to have the traditional marriage made before we can proceed for sacraments. And it's good to keep that, but it has to be reasonable. If it's not reasonable, it's, everything that is not reasonable has no strength. Everything that is not reasonable has no strength, Only the truth has a right. If something is wrong, it has no right, It's losing its right. If it becomes exaggerated or not good. But it's still a difficult topic, and it has to be difficult. It cannot be very easy. But I know in certain family, the mother has always been very clear with all her daughters, telling them, I don't want douerie, I want you to make a good marriage. And I will help you to make a good marriage, even if I never receive a douerie for you. And this Catholic parents who is helping the children to do a good marriage and not blocking them to do what is right. No, the goal of douerie, the goal of all these steps is to strengthen the family, to make it very strong. That you cannot just send away your wife like that because you are not happy. No, you have paid so much for her, and nobody will let you separate so easily. It was wisdom, but it's for the sake of the family, not against the family. Okay. I think it has been long enough. We will continue next time. Thank you so much.